Yo, what's going on, y'all? Welcome to another D Elliott Fitness live stream. Today we're gonna do a reaction video to a semen retention video speaking on the death of masculinity and society. Pretty interesting. I personally never seen it. I decided to do a first time look through or first time watch on the video on my live streams to just kind of see how this goes. So gonna be watching it, reacting to it as we go along. Fair use. It's from Teachings of the Wise. So we're going to go into it, get straight to it. It's a short little quick video, probably about 10 minutes. So we'll be stopping and going between and speaking on it. But for the most part about it, let's just get into the video and get started. Because, yeah, that's what we're here to see. So let's go. Oh, 1 second. Might have a echo in the video. Let's fix that echo if there is an echo real quick. Mistake on my behalf. My apologies. Just real quick. It'll take us 2 seconds because I do got somewhere to be here shortly. So let's just get this taken care of and out the way. Bam, bam. All right. Sorry about that. Here we go. Let's get back into it. All right. So, Teachings of the Wise. Let's go.
The expulsion of a man's seminal fluids induces a phenomenon akin to a male reproductive cycle, or the male period. In males, each occurrence of orgasm elicits comparable psychological consequences, similar to those experienced during the menstrual cycle in females. These repercussions manifest as irritability, feelings of depression, mood fluctuations, increased fatigue, reduced concentration, heightened impatience, and the tendency to turn his back on the world.
All of this from releasing of semen. All right, we got the chapters. Let's go.
After relinquishing his semen, he diminishes his capacity to allocate resources to his partner and children, coupled with a tendency for temporary social withdrawal. This becomes apparent following instances of sexual intercourse.
Sounds like post-nut clarity so far. After you release the semen, you don't feel like doing too much afterwards. But let's continue.
If your coach...
Oh, come on. Give me that. All right. Well, let's go ahead and get this out of the way real quick. Well, so far, so good. So it's speaking on, after releasing of your semen for semen retention, you get basically a clear view on post-nut clarity, which, well, we all know. You don't feel like doing nothing. You don't feel like doing much but eating and going to sleep because you exhausted so much energy. But let's get back into the video. Where we at? All right, here we go. Back to it.
In immediate observation, individuals of the female gender who have engaged in sexual activity with him have reported a discernible alteration in his mood, a reduced level of interest, and a conspicuous tendency towards social withdrawal following the male ejaculation. His transformation is immediate, marked by a noticeable shift in demeanor. The once present glint in his eye has now dissipated entirely. He averts his gaze from her, lying in the bed beside her. Just moments ago, his passion and deep interest were unmistakable, accompanied by a willingness to exert significant effort on her behalf.
Fair use.
His current disposition reflects a marked indifference, approaching avoidance, towards both the act of sexual intercourse and the presence of his partner. Indeed, a palpable sense of repulsion has materialized within the man, directed not only at the act of sex itself, but also towards the woman involved. This sensation of disgust emerges almost immediately following an orgasm.
All right, well, clearly, just speaking of post-nut clarity, so it could be one or two things. Regret and shame, which is what it seems like they're referring to, coming from just a lustful partner, because everything that they're saying about the male in this case is extremely negative, which, if you've been there, you understand and you know that, you know, if you're not practicing or if you're not in the right state of mind whenever you're doing these actions, that will be the case. And it seems like that's what we're referring to here. Basically, if you're reckless with your seed, these are some of the side effects is that you'll go through. And that's what we're hearing about. So let's keep going. So far, they're on point.
It is noteworthy that the repercussions on the male, both in terms of physical and psychological well-being, endure far beyond the initial moments following ejaculation. This influence persists for a considerable duration, spanning at least 24 hours subsequent to the expenditure of his seminal energy. Research suggests that there may be a correlation between the occurrence of domestic conflicts and the timing of a man's orgasm. When a man engages in infrequent sexual activity, his reserves of sexual energy and semen tend to be higher, which can mitigate some of these effects. However, even with just one orgasm within a month, some noticeable effects may be observed.
So even with, oh man, bad picture. So even with the orgasm once a month, they're saying you have noticeable differences, but they're saying that there's a timing where you should be releasing, which they haven't went into detail yet. But it just shows the power of harnessing your energy and basically practicing monk mode for a while so you have control over what's going on as opposed to letting this control you. And I agree with this so far. It makes clear sense. That's why one of the things that you must go through in life is a detox period of everything, of all your vices, including this is what we're talking about right here, because it just shows that you're basically being controlled by something that you don't know how much power it has over you, because we talk about everything else being an addiction and a vice, but never this. So let's keep going. Continue.
For men who habitually engage in frequent orgasms, there appears to be a potential similarity to premenstrual syndrome or PMS in women, albeit with distinct differences. This hidden PMS syndrome in men may manifest more prominently in those who are excessively indulgent in orgasmic activities, as their physiological and psychological resources may already be strained due to frequent discharge. In such cases, the impact of any additional orgasmic release can be more pronounced, akin to someone who has already overdrawn at his bank account. Now consider that the female gets hit with this only once monthly. She experiences this loss only once every 28 days. It is dictated by nature once a month, but no more.
Well, dictated by nature once or more, but that's only if you decide to practice it correctly, which, as we know in today's society, that has not been the case. But if so, then it basically is saying that if you release correctly and practice sex at the right time, then these won't hinder you as much, and there's a certain time to release your semen. And of course, you're only supposed to be using it for procreation and then channeling the rest of the energy and transmuting it into productivity along the way, because it takes away so much from you, because it creates a whole human being with that being said. So you should be able to use that and harness that for something more potent and more powerful. But yeah, let's keep going. That's pretty interesting. Let's go.
Consider the average male, most of who are sex addicts. He chooses to have many periods with loss of vital seminal power throughout the month. So what we have in our modern society are men on permanent PMS. Qualities of nobility, patience, magnanimity, energy, and strength accrue in men who conserve their semen. But now, such men as these are rare. The standard for men's behavior has dropped lower and lower over the centuries. Women are accustomed to men on PMS because the men are almost always in this state.
Oh, wow.
Because men are chronically on PMS, it is difficult to perceive the contrast between a psychological low or high. Men are always at a low. For this reason, women have actually become psychologically superior to men. Men and women.
See that there? If that's the case, then that's clear indication of if you don't have control over yourself, of your urges, then you relinquish your power as a man. And no disrespect to the women out there, but this is a clear understanding as to, if you look at how the world is nowadays, this makes perfect sense. This makes perfect sense. And that's why you have things that are out of order the way they are, due to lack of control on both sides, because they're saying that women have this once a month, but you clearly know women are going crazy when it comes to sex, and men are too. It goes both ways. But it's interesting how they say how the tables can turn due to lack of control, and who becomes superior over due to lack of control. And it's not a superior inferior thing, but if you don't have control over your vices, then yeah, your vice is superior to you, and you are now a slave to it. Continue.
Women should be intelligent and realize this. In the sexual discharge, nature is intending to give us something very great, the birth of a new human being. Thus, we should realize why nature extracts a penalty from men for sexual discharge, just as nature has always done for women in their monthly period. Man's chronic state of premenstrual syndrome is the main cause of the destruction of the planet and the deterioration of society. In nature's grand plan, how often should a man release his vital energy? The answer lies in observing women who are more closely attuned to nature's rhythms. Nature suggests that a man's maximum should align with the monthly cycle once a month. Exceeding this natural frequency can lead to psychological imbalances, making a man less harmonious with nature compared to a woman.
So sex should be followed or guided upon the female's menstrual cycle. That makes sense. That actually makes quite a lot of sense. Because if you look at the greatest people who have done anything great, semen retention is something that's been part of it. And basically sacrificing your social life and choosing to become something great is what some of them did. Or others who basically chose to conquer and use it for conquest. But aligning your sexual act, your need for procreation, along with the female cycle, which is something that is foreign in today's world, is an interesting way to look at it, which means that you only have sex 12 times a year. And you only be using it for productivity. And with that being said, if you release inside the woman, you're going to get her pregnant, which means you won't be having sex 12 times a year. But then you should be more productive and be able to conquer more in life and in work and in the world based on your retention of semen that you're not releasing as often. Continue.
In the tapestry of existence, a subtle shift has occurred over centuries, rendering women, in general, as bearers of moral and psychological fortitude. Their reservoirs of patience, emotional equilibrium, reason, and capacity to navigate complex and demanding daily lives are testaments to this ascendancy. It's reflected in their longer lifespans. This transformation finds its roots in the conservation of vital sexual energy, which women, by nature's design, achieve more adeptly than men. The balance of power and moral...
That can go both ways. That can go both ways. But if we're speaking in the context of aligning in nature, then yes. So I get what he's saying.
Ascendancy has been steadily shifting towards women, driven by men's profligate expenditure of
seminal energy. Profligate. And let's see real quick. We'll have a quick history lesson. Not history lesson, but a quick vocabulary lesson. Profligate is recklessly extravagant or wasteful in the use of resources. So with that being said, go back to it. It says that by men's profligate expenditure of seminal energy. So basically saying wasting your resources. Let's keep going.
Seminal energy.
Let's go back.
Driven by men's profligate expenditure of seminal energy. It is in this natural order that women have assumed roles of prominence, and this trajectory appears unalterable as long as men continue to squander their vital essence. However, it is within a man's power to reclaim his essence and change into a different breed, which is a rarity in today's world. Through this reclamation, his relationships with women are restored, and his positive influence upon the world reignites. The practice of semen retention becomes the key to this transformation. Indeed, the intricacies of men's orgasms bear a profound cost, a cost discernible in nature's grand design.
So basically, the true strength inside of a man lies in his restraint to retain a seed. When you retain your seed, then you can turn around and use that urge or that feeling and dictate it towards something more productive. Because then you end up spending so much time trying to release it, and the time that it takes for you to, find a partner, or if you already have a partner, find someone, get someone, set it up, make it happen. Or if you already have a partner, you release it, you don't feel like doing nothing afterwards. Because just be real and be honest that whenever you release, you don't feel like being the most productive person in the world. You don't feel like getting up and going to work and just conquering. You feel like laying down and doing nothing. And the fact that it's a vital energy that can create a whole human being, harnessing it and using it and taking back power and charge, that could be why there's such a gap in between, how society is. I hate to talk about the whole relationship thing right now, but there could be a reason why there's such a gap in everything, because, maybe the top 1% or 5% of people understand this and utilize this and use this. And then the rest of the world don't use it, or don't have access to women and don't understand how to use this to their advantage. So instead of using this to their advantage, they're sitting on internets and porn sites or whatever, using their energy wastefully, ejaculating it, whatever which way they can, or just spending much time on different websites and things like that. So a lot of people may not know how to transmute this energy, because it doesn't just take semen retention, but it also takes exercise, working out, diet, and a bunch of different things that come together and apply this, and then have a goal set in mind and apply systems to your goal and go full force and go all the way on whatever it is you're trying to achieve. Let's continue.
Nature, an ever-eloquent architect, scatters hints throughout creation. Contemplate on this straightforward truth. When a woman unites with a man in passion, she receives a precious gift. The bestowal of a man's essence upon her is not merely a fleeting act. It yields substantial physical and psychological sustenance to the feminine spirit.
Here's an easy.
Come on. But yeah, this does make pretty good sense if you're walking in tune with nature and keeping everything inconsistent with nature, and actually only having intercourse aligned with the female's reproductive, or not reproductive, but her menstrual cycle. Interesting. And if you're able to control that and actually follow that, and then have a goal set aside to whatever it is that you're trying to attain, you strive for it every single day, daily, 1, 3, 5 years down the line, it's no telling what you can conquer, what you can achieve. But let's keep going.
In their wisdom, articulated this profound phenomenon. Her body and spirit is positively nourished by the tract of the seminal substance deposited in her by the male. It is no mere coincidence that women radiate an ethereal glow after such an intimate communion. For within her she bears the luminous traces of that shared union, a testament to nature's exquisite balance and benevolence. Assuming that the intricate dance of creation unfolds as nature intends, the woman, in her own profound way, reciprocates with a gift beyond measure. Following the relinquishment of his essence, the female, uniquely equipped for this sacred task, bestows upon the world a precious and innocent miracle, an infant human being. Indeed, a child represents the pinnacle of creation, the most sublime manifestation of a man and woman's union. Reflect upon the potency of the male seed, so profound that it evokes from the female such a powerful creation. Therefore, one must fathom the exalted worth of a man's seminal power. These treasures should never be treated with disregard, for to do so is to the detriment of the very man who possesses them. Man, in his original design, was not intended to indulge in more than one orgasm per month, lest he descend into a state of low psychological equilibrium. It is a result.
Men were not designed to release more than one orgasm per month. It's what we were not designed to do, and going against that does have a consequence. Interesting. So going in tune with nature, your biology needs to complement the female menstrual cycle. And this is speaking on if you do everything in accordance with nature. Of course, we know that there's two sides to the coin, because they're saying that, a woman radiates a glow and she radiates a glow, and then she reciprocates that also, and she has the essence of the man within her, and it's all positive. But we can clearly see the negative aspect of it because we look at it every day in today's world, how everything is ran. But looking at this from the way it's supposed to be done, you can bring a child into this world. You can actually retain your energy, your essence, and everything vital about you, and conquer whatever life goals you have to accomplish, and still be in tune with nature. And you'll be elevated and vibrating at a higher frequency and moving along way better than majority of society, which I'm pretty sure the top 1% knows. But let's keep going. It's almost done. Last minute.
Of man's excessive squandering with his essence that women in our modern age have ascended in social and cultural influence over men. It was a necessity born of circumstance, for women had no alternative. Man, regrettably, has forsaken his once lofty psychological and moral stature, abandoning the nobility inherent in his essence.
Okay. So it's clear what they're saying here is that a man has basically given up his position, his role, because now that he's squandering his seed and using it recklessly, which he doesn't understand how vital and how important it is. Now the woman can come in, and since he's recklessly using it, she can come in and basically fulfill the position that he's not fulfilling correctly. However, the way society is ran, that's a coin toss on how that can be taken. But understanding what this is saying, if you want to get ahead as a man and lead correctly, this is a good teaching to actually look at. This is a great teaching to have and a great teaching to understand on how things go. Because then this will put you ahead of everything that's going on in life. Because the world is teaching you the exact opposite, the complete opposite, like a complete 180. Complete 180. It's teaching you to squander your seed. When you get paid and get a lot of money, it's teaching you to get laid by buku as many women as you want. And that's not what's supposed to be happening. So understanding these natural teachings and teaching you how to release your seed accordingly of the way you're supposed to can have a great effect on you if you're able to get rid of your vices, drop your vices, and use your seed the way you're supposed to use them. I think that was a good one. Teaching of the wise, shout out to you. Fair use on using your video. Hopefully this reaches somebody, and hopefully somebody can use this and stay in the laws of nature and stay in confinement and understanding how you're supposed to move in this world and get out of the negative low frequency vibration that the world is perpetually going in right now through fear and lust and anxiety and all this negativity. So hopefully this helps somebody. Hopefully this reaches you. Thank y'all. Appreciate it if you stayed here the whole time. And please stay tuned for the next live stream coming up. Until then, we're out. Peace.